I don't want to just get into something and then all of a sudden, or have someone maybe not have the right idea of what it
Oh
is.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I
No
think
worries.
of Utility Room as a romance show, people, and also look back at adventures as well, and then the idea of
Exactly,
where we're at today, how the adventures are continuing, and
exactly.
yeah.
All right,
I'm
I'm
really
ready.
super stoked that you're with us tonight. With over 2.5 decades in the music industry, countless parties and mixtapes that
Wow.
have rocked
Yeah.
you or someone that you know, and has been in the Toronto rave scene since the start. Uh, it's with great pleasure that we are welcoming Danny Henry to the Utility Room.
I'm glad to be here.
I'm happy you're with us as well, man. It's dope.
Yeah,
How,
this is such a great thing you're doing. You know what I mean? Like just keeping everybody in the vibe of, oneness and music and just, this COVID thing is pretty insane, right? And
it,
it's putting everyone for a weird sort of spin on how we're socially or the oxymoron of social distancing, right?
sure, it's changed the dynamic of the show as well. Before the lockdown happened, I was getting together with everybody, and in some instances going into their homes and doing Utility Room in their home. We were with Brendan Canny. We were in his living room, and
Yeah,
it
I
was
seen that episode.
it was great. And same, at Adam K, we had Adam K as well. We were in his studio. Um, you know, with Brendan, we were wearing masks. Adam and I, we weren't at that point. I think maybe things were maybe loosening up. Also, I don't know. It's strange. I went back. I did another episode with Andy Reid. Then we are wearing masks.
Right,
And I
right,
I would
right.
have happily done this episode with you and worn a mask with you as well. But just right now things are so complicated. I can't even. I'm not quite sure I can even keep up with all the rules and regulations here in the province of Ontario. What we can do, what we can't do, when we're supposed to do
Yeah,
it, when
they're
we're not supposed to do it. But
ever
basic.
changing, ever
Yeah,
changing.
one thing that has remained static is stay home, and if you're
Yeah,
gonna go out, wear a mask.
and
That
and
seems to
now
be.
now they put together some sort of task force that's going to like ensure people aren't gathering and and breaking the laws of however many people were restricted to now.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's a strange time, and you know what? I feel that people are so accustomed to the customs that they were involved in that any just and this isn't small change, but the smallest bit of change feels like it could be almost a bit chaotic. Um,
Right,
and
right.
this
I
and this
agree.
isn't small change, and that's just it. Is that it's giant change, it's multi-level change. There's all kinds of different action and news stories coming at us rapid fire. It's ever evolving. I
Right.
and we're so used to being on our phone, and then I swipe and an answer appears before me. Why isn't life this way?
Right, right. I get it. And it's going to be really interesting how we emerge from this, right?
What do you think? What is do you have a an idea, a vibe, a prediction you feel
I
could
think
be?
it's going to be I think it's going to be an open market on a good time. I think there's not going to be that sort of instilled sort of Toronto clickiness and people sticking to what they like. I think everyone's just going to go out and just cut loose and just give everything a chance.
I've
You know what I
heard
mean?
I've heard definitely a lot of um, friends, family, people I've spoken to are referencing the Roaring Twenties. What happened
Yeah,
after the Spanish flu seemingly was eliminated, or it became an immune vibe, or who knows what? I don't know what happened in
yeah,
1920. Something happened where people
right. But they
felt
got a
safe enough
grip
to
on it.
take their masks off and go back and be next to each other in a closed space and party and let
Right,
loose.
right.
Um,
And we're all one, and we are all drawn to each other. You know what I mean? We all need like that connection
right.
on some level. Like you couldn't be a hermit, even if you were a hermit. You need a dog or like a Wolverine or something, you know what I mean? You'd go crazy by yourself. So, the idea of oneness is all I'm about right now, man. And yeah, we'll see how we come out of this.
Would you say that this was an idea that was appealing and attractive to you when you first started going out before the idea of Danny Henry was a DJ? I'm assuming Danny Henry was someone that was on the dance floor. Is that, or did you just go right into DJing?
Oh, no, no, no. I was on the dance floor, definitely.
Okay.
Um, um, my father was a DJ. My mother sang always parties at my house growing up, falling asleep to loud parties. My father had five other brothers, so it was pretty intense. And I was bombarded by all kinds of music, all kinds of styles, and it's just carried on since a young kid, sneaking out to the zone, at 14, 15, and getting like a good experience of like the Toronto vibe, like Paulie Lopez and like, Malik X and those guys back then, like Shams and all them, getting a good education on what the Toronto vibe is, right? And we do have a vibe, we do have a sound, and we do have like a definite scene that's the staple mark here.
What would you say that sound is? How would you describe it?
Hmm.
How
Bass heavy, drops, a lot of drops, not, kind of moody almost, kind of like that New York sort of like that moody sort of like premier kind of hip hop and how they have that rainy kind of vibe to their hip hop. We have that kind of like moodiness, I think, but a serious kind of like a comfort zone kind of like bass, right?
do you feel that this sound was developed through the DJs that were in the scene in Toronto, or was this coming from the producers and the record labels that were in Toronto?
A bit of both. A bit of both, definitely, but we definitely cultivated and had our own distinct sort of like serious bass heavy groovy sound from day one. From day one, that's all I truly experienced, just like a groovy kind of city, a serious house city, a serious dance city, right? So many good producers and DJs out of this city. It's Oh my God. I've looked at other interviews you've had and people have touched upon it, but a lot of people went unnoticed. You know what I mean? But it's all about timing. It's all about being in the right place at the right time.
I agree with you. Music can be that way. It's the reason why
Right.
sometimes I feel like I'm revisiting something that, like happened, who knows, a while back. It could be a couple years, it could be even greater than that time. And
Right.
it becomes equally important at that moment for me as it probably would have been then had I discovered it. And this weird idea of time, and the displacement of it. And you're right, time and place is super important with music.
Hmm.
Some people
Hmm.
some people are right on time, and some people are very early. Some people and
Yeah, some people,
some people are very late.
right? Some people can hang, some people can't hang. I get it.
I like
I totally agree. I agree.
it.
You're
Very good.
absolutely right.
I was
You know
gonna
what I mean? But
go.
music is if it sounds good, it is good.
Right.
Purest like form of expression. So you as a producer or an artist or a DJ, whatever it is, people feel that. It doesn't matter. I heard you. I was looking at an interview. I think you were talking to. It was a Jen Star or Rob, the Cheesecake King of Toronto. By the way, big up Rob the Boom. Um, you're touching on what was it? I just kind of had a. I can't. It was something to do with. I can't really. I think it was Jen Star you were talking to. I was looking at that interview. You're talking about music. I don't know. I kind of just had a brain fart there. I can't. I just lost track.
We were we were
It'll
talking
come
about
to me. We'll
music and
think of
being
something
on
else.
time. Producers, people not noticed in Toronto. Maybe they're too early or they're too late.
Right, right, right. We'll think of something
Okay.
else. No problem.
Look, I was
That's
gonna
how you remember things, right?
one of the important questions that I ask for the guests that are with us on Utility Room is what was that first vampire bite? And I refer to the idea of electronic music as a vampiric bite. And maybe that's because I'm the enthusiast that I am. I'm going to assume if this was another genre, say hip hop, for example, and people have been listening since, the very first, Run DMC album, for example, they've been with it,
Right.
and they're probably enthusiastic in the same way. So, but this is
Right.
obviously
Right.
exclusive to me, and this is the show. So, I was gonna ask, like, what was your first vampire bite? Because this is what happens, right? We get this bite, and we
Right.
become creatures of the night, and
Mm,
and we
you know
stay
what?
with it. It doesn't leave us.
Radio London, Malik X. Also, James St. Bass. Um, like Radio London was some serious, like pivotal stuff to me. And Mark Oliver as well. Mark has always been a G, and he's always stayed and moved with the times. And my experiences were with Mark because I hung out with Mark when I was young, and just like kind of like tagged along behind him and watched him play a bit when I wasn't DJing yet. And that was my experience. Just a good positive education on like serious house songs that would slip people in any other time, right? Like going to the zone with the chain link fence. Like you got to have that kind of like ingrained experience to. They kind of say you got to know where you're from to know where you're at. Well, that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? To truly get like that good education in music, good house.
But
You know what I mean?
you must have had an exposure. So what was happening at home? Because
Home, I was listening to Charlatans, and my first album I bought, to be honest, was Rush, 1972 Rush, before they had Neil Peart. To be honest, I was listening to Rush and like a lot of indie music and Clash and reggae and EPMD. Like I say, just like a barrage of music all the time. Even to this day, they kind of say you clear your palate before you drink a wine or something like that. I listen to music totally opposite from what I'm going to mix. If I'm going to be mixing house, I listen to hip hop, or I'll listen to like jazz, or not traditional jazz, but some jazz fusion. Totally different to kind of just clear my space and get like a fresh kind of like perspective on what I'm going to do. Right.
So is this something that would be almost ceremony before you would start picking records before a set, or how would that?
No, no, I don't. Well, I don't pick records for sets. I make crates and just kind of like you know what you're going into. You know what I
You,
mean?
you
So you
mean you mean
just
you're making crates in record boxes is
yeah,
okay? I
Just like
Yeah, all
you
right.
dig what I mean. You
Yeah,
know what I
no,
mean.
of course.
You know what I mean.
Hey, listen, I feel like I still make the mistake of calling a promo a white label, and then I have to stop myself for a second. And it's often
Right,
in the show that I'm referencing dub plates, which
right.
which were I
But
I didn't know a lot of house or techno people that were cutting their own dub plates, but I did because I in around the time I started working at Eastern Bloc, all the
right,
all the drum and bass guys that were 5 feet away from me, it was dub plate city. They were cutting left, right, and center, and
right. Everyone had their little dots,
I'm
and
like, I could
back
take
then
my
it was
track and press my
Tascams,
own
right?
vinyl to play at the rave. Are you kidding me? And they're like, Yeah,
Right.
how'd you not know that? And I'm
Yes.
like, Oh my god, here I go.
Exactly. Only about 10 times though, but
You know what? I was super gentle, Danny, and I rolled. I did. Never tried to scratch at the dub play. Was not going to fuck around that way. And I also
right,
I also
exactly.
rolled with my own cartridges, so I was a little more confident in the lasting
Right,
ability. And because it was
right.
really
Cool.
important, I would just use it for that specific moment when I was going to, and then back into the sleeve. I would, I know there were,
Exactly.
yeah, it was just unbelievably expensive. So
I know. But it's just funny you're referencing like white labels, and nobody like nowadays nobody knows about Tascams or acetates or DAT machines.
right,
That is the thing that is totally foreign to the digital DJ now, right? So
sure,
that is like
and it should
you've been
be.
around the block. You've been around the block, and that is like just stuff that just kind of puts you on a level. You dig what I'm saying? Just because, like, all right, vinyl, blah blah blah. Time coded vinyl, whatever. But you're on a level though. You feel me? Like
I
you,
I
you just have this. Sorry.
no, I can't. I don't want to talk over you. It's more important that you get your thoughts out there. I mean, this is Utility Room with Danny Henry, not me.
Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, yeah. No, no, no. But we're on the same page. Sorry.
I think it's listen. There's definite value to how it all came to be, but I don't daydream about being on the old formats. Like sometimes I look
No,
at my
not at
vinyl.
all. You crazy? And only people that have never flown are the ones who are like, oh, you should play vinyl. Screw that. Or gone through a crowd of people with like flight cases. That's not cool. I dig it. I love a USB stick. I love an external hard drive. I have no problem with that.
Are
But
you
people seem to
using
put this value to, oh, if you're not playing vinyl, you're not. Give me a break.
are you using the vinyl mode on the CDJs, or are you using the digital mode?
Not use the vinyl mode,
Okay.
but you know, I'm just talking about the physical arduous task
Are
of
you
like
doing that for
going through a
nostalgia? Are you
seat.
selecting that mode based like because of your familiarity of how you've been doing it for so long, or you're doing that for your own personal
Yeah, I just
preference?
like the touch. I just like the touch, right? Just being able to kind of work it, even though it's by a minute degree. But I just like the touch. I like working mixes still.
I
You know what I mean?
I threw down the idea that the reason why there might be such a love towards vinyl and what we do when we're up there and performing because of how the music has been pressed and there's a permanence towards it, which doesn't happen digitally. You know,
Exactly.
once I've got the file, I mean, even when I'm playing, even if the track is not mine, I have done a form of editing, or I guess it's not remixing because I haven't taken the parts and done a rearrangement, but I've done something on the overall arrangement of the track,
Right.
and so I can't do that really with wax. That doesn't happen. Once it's pressed, it is what it is, and that's that. And if you're gonna fuck with it, you got to
Yeah.
fuck with it in the real time as it's going, right? Which yeah, same thing
Exactly.
digitally, but the manipulation is just it's a different thing. And I'm wondering because it's the same reason why we'll look at a mountain and adore it. Because it's not going anywhere. It is what it is. And I wonder about the
Right.
pressing of music on vinyl if that's maybe one of the reasons why this adoration continues into an idea like I you know
Because the
what
groove is locked, right?
right
Groove is locked.
that's right, and it's from a long time ago. This is not a new turntables and records. This is not a new technology. And in an instance of where everyone gets excited about a new version of a phone coming out or a new laptop, a new touchscreen pad, be like, when it comes to this, in this one instance, no, 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 go back, go back in time, and
Right.
it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Um,
No, it doesn't.
what was your record shopping like? Did you have political experiences in the record store, or was your navigation through the aisles smooth?
I used to go to the back on Wednesday and play the record. I used to go to the back and fight or try and get there before like the other cats did to get like the new stuff like record day. But other than that, yeah, yeah, I like going in the front. I like digging through the crates. But when it came to like white label time back then, look at me going to the white label thing. When they were coming out with Wake Up and Follow Me and people were rushing to play the record, those were the times when it was good to be able to go to the back and get it from Eugene.
Because you knew that you were going to end up with the piece in stock and that it was yours. You had it.
Well, no, it was a certain amount that came in. So you wanted to make sure you got it so you could play it because by the next week, there was something else coming out.
What
So
about
you know what I mean? So sorry,
no, no, no.
I'm done.
Okay. So clearly, I'm excited, Danny. So, what if you were standing next to, say, for example, John? I know you. I want to get into that because I know you guys played a bunch, together. but let's say, for example, there was one record of something that came in, and then he got it, but you didn't. This envy that would happen. I know I experienced it. It happened with me in Eastern Bloc with the Cozy or Rob or Demonic often. You know, there'd be something, a promo would
Yeah,
happen, it would end up in their
yeah,
hands. And again, this was the only way that this music could possibly be shared. There was two methods. One, the borrowing of a record, which is I don't know, it's a form of cuckolding,
mm,
and
yeah, yeah.
and and then the other way with that, you know, and this is of course later on when it was possible, if they had the turntable and the audio interface to attach the old school computer, maybe you could get a copy ripped to you on CD. Maybe, you know, and
Maybe,
that was it was
maybe.
because it wasn't easy just to, it wasn't like, you know, like now, you know, now
Yeah,
where if
exactly,
someone asks for a song, I mean, I can take my phone out and grab a file from a hard drive of my phone and,
exactly,
you know, so
exactly.
I'm I'm just so I'm wondering about this. Do you so I guess I haven't gotten to the question. I'm saying a bunch of stuff, but I haven't gotten to it.
No, that's cool.
Um, the question is that do you feel that the accessibility today has changed the way people love what they're listening to?
Yes, yes, definitely. Because if you're truly going to sort through and get the latest music, you have to dedicate a certain amount of time to suss and to sort through the thousands and thousands of crap songs that are out there to really get the good ones. If you're looking and you're buying records, I get a lot of songs sent to me now, and my purchasing and gathering of music is different. But I'm talking about the average consumer. Yeah, you got to like sort through a bunch of crap. You know, it gets really daunting. You know what I mean? Especially if you're an EDM head.
Was
There's so much. Sorry.
was this not the case? I'm wondering, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Say, for example, you did go to the record store, it was shipment day, and even if you ended up in the back and you're super lucky to get a hold of the first pick, which is what
Right.
is what we're really talking about, right? For firsts.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
so
Right.
you get a situation of first, but even if you're first, there's no reference to what's really going on. You're either recognizing the label, the artist,
Right.
or sometimes if perhaps you were like me, be like, cool art, bro. I'll check.
Exactly.
I'll check
Exactly.
it out. I feel like this art is speaking to me. It looks like it rocks. Okay, I'll listen. I'll
Exactly.
listen to it. So this is how
Exactly.
we would go and you know, grab our records. The pot.
I would always look for the first or second or third release on a label because those were always normally their best stuff. If I didn't know the label and it was their first or second release, I normally check it out because 9 times out of 10 it's good because they're putting out their good stuff, right? That's how I would shop when I didn't know labels. When I was just like guessing, I'd go by the release number.
So you're in a place of where you're auditioning this music, you know, for yourself and potentially three or four other people that are maybe listening with you, so that if you're gonna say no, that they've got the first chance or to be second.
Right,
um,
right, right. I know where you're going.
right. But the pile that you would have as you approach the turntable to do this audition for yourself would be 40, 50, 60 records, maybe more.
No,
Really? Wait,
no, never,
you're
never,
really?
never, never,
Was
never. I would
was
never.
that just me?
Yeah, yeah. I would never. I remember when I first bought records. Me and Anthony Donnelly went got on a bus from Brampton and went downtown to HMV, and they were selling records for like $1 or something like that. And we went and filled up milk crates, and half of them were crap, and only like 7 of them were good. But yeah, that's how we did it. Oh yeah, just good pictures, good sleeves, and the first or second release. That's because Dr. No and Mark told us that. So we just lived by that after, right?
What
We did that's what I mean.
I'm wondering, what were the rules then? What were there rules when you were going
The
into the
lots of
record
rules.
store, and then when you were trying to get the gigs, was there something you guys were all trying to adhere to? that was maybe
Mm.
not really, it was never written, but it was spoken about?
Well, you would cover your records. You would cover the records so people could see them. That was one thing people used to do all the time.
I'm
Um,
guilty of that. I have regret. I have regret that I did that. I wish
hey,
I would have never.
Jello, eh?
I
Jello across all the
I didn't
records.
write my name. I wasn't that, like, look at me. But what I would do,
Right,
I would write notes. I should try and find out. I might actually, I can't go digging right now because it would take a sec, but I used to write notes
right.
like, go shop somewhere else. Um, not for you. I just very quick, and I'd use a black marker so it's be bold. So, and you people,
Right.
I'd see the train spotters with their eyes like trying to follow the sticker around as it was turning, be like, "Fuck, does that say?" Be like, and then just look at me
And then
discouraged, like,
once they realize what it says, they feel stupid.
yeah, that was a mistake. But
Right?
the thing about it then, to explain why it was happening, was because if you had my tracks and you could mix kind of like me, well, then you could also be in the place to get that music at the party. And
Sure.
I
And that even kind of rings true now, but
absolutely,
you can
that's real now.
Shazam. You can Shazam now, and there's a lot of banging or banger songs that you can assemble and go out and play at any venue, and people don't know any better. They just want to move, right? They just want to dance, and you can mix it in key, and you can make it sound all professional, but you can't do that all the time. It just sounds generic. Like I say, if it sounds good, it is good. If somebody's playing true and they're not doing that, people will feel that and vibe with it, and they'll resonate a lot more with it as opposed to the next guy who's shazamming someone else's music, and just because he has it, you can't play it the same as me or you or anyone else, right? You
Hmm.
can't mix it the same. We could play the same 10 records, Jello, and we wouldn't mix it the same.
No,
Right?
I
Right.
agree.
That's what I'm saying. So it doesn't matter how you can have all the same awesome songs. Doesn't matter how it's how you throw it down. It's how you mix it at the end of the day.
How did you discover new music, Danny?
I outsourced. I looked, I searched, I listened, I asked what names of songs were that I liked. I had a real interest in sussing out music because I have a love for and a passion for it. So as soon as I'd hear a song that was good, I'd ask or I'd inquire. You know what I mean? Yeah, I look for my music so that I make sure my sound is true to me and I'm not sounding like somebody else is really good. Because there's a lot of good DJs out there, and you would have no problem playing like them. But what's that about? It's not fun. Music should be about love of playing and seeing people react to it.
Did
You
you
know what I
find
mean?
yourself in a circle of friends, acquaintances, peers who were listening to the music that you were listening to?
Oh, of course. I would surround myself with people that were bringing something else to the table that I didn't know, that I respected. You know what I mean? I didn't have any problems saying like, "Wow, that's awesome," and I make sure I surround myself with like heavy hitters, right? That are playing good stuff. That's the only way to get good, by being with people you aspire to be as good as or better, right?
What about before this? What about before the idea that you wanted to go off and be a DJ? How did you know if you were walking down the street, for example, and we don't know each other, just, for this example, we're both wearing Run DMC t-shirts, and we're walking along Young Street, you're going north, I'm going south, and we're on the same sidewalk. We pass each other by. A nod's gonna happen. Fuck.
Of course.
Right? Like, yes.
I'm wearing a Jam Master Jay t-shirt.
Right. But there wasn't Frankie Knuckles t-shirts. There wasn't Carl Cox tank tops.
Right.
So how did you know when you were walking down the street that you would see somebody who was really into house music?
How would you know?
Did you know?
You know what? Kinda, kinda.
Well,
Like, I'll tell you a funny story. Me and Anthony met Sean Elm. Sean Elm. We met him just walking outside of the Hop one night and walking up Young Street. Oh, sorry, Richmond, and coming back and seeing Sean just like standing at the corner, tapping his feet, looking very like unassuming. And we just told him to come with us, and he loves his house music. He's a great DJ. He didn't even open his mouth, but just his look kind of gave off a vibe. So yeah, I'll agree with you. I think I can kind of vibe with people, or you know what I mean, be intuitive to their liking of like house music. I don't know. It's kind of a look. It's kind of a dress. It's kind of a swagger too. No.
did you feel that there was a style of clothing that was happening? I mean, we didn't have
Oh yeah,
merch,
of course,
but did you?
of
What
course.
would you say was that outfit? An outfit that you could say was a typical wear for somebody that was into house music.
Kind of GQ. John Beats, don't laugh.
No,
GQ,
I'm agreeing
like
with you.
a
Right,
dapper kind of look,
right.
like a put together look. You're not sloppy. You're not wearing like baggy pants and like creepers. It's a put together look. You know what I mean? I think it's like a Le Chateau kind of ensemble,
So then, so
like
then,
nice pants and shoes and like a nice shirt,
so then, when we graduate
blazers.
from this, from the idea of what was house music on the View, and then we think about ravers with fat pants, bright colors. This was, in my opinion, easier to spot. Um,
Of course,
you know, and I'm bringing this up because I'm thinking to myself today, if I just started listening to house music, it would be
right,
easy for me to discover communities on a variety of different apps, and I can go and get involved and go down my own rabbit hole this way. But I'm
right.
wondering, because of your history, 20, 25 years more. And and and
Yeah,
and
30.
and so you're deep in a place of, this is pre-social media, pre-cell phone. You're How are you meeting people? Like, so I'm saying outside of the record store, because that has
Ah,
its own little cosmos thing that's happening.
right.
The
And back
dance floor
then
is
you
a
couldn't.
separate beast.
Right, right. Everybody conjugated. Like I was going to La Rotunda, Focus, like certain bars that everybody would always go to. Like the house scene back then had its regulars, right? And you'd see each other all the time at Focus or wherever. You'd see everybody, and it was just like a family. You know what I mean? Like not you might not necessarily see the person through the week, but at the zone, at wherever, it was family because the house kind of brought everyone together, and the house was pure and less piano and uplifting kind of vocals back then. So it kind of brought everyone together, I think.
Did you do you think that rave was like the lateral move of punk? I mean, like, I felt like I.
Raves, I'll tell you something. It was a blessing, and it came out of nowhere, and I think it's like one of the best things that happened to the city. You know what I mean? Ecstasy, even though it was a fueled sort of igniter for the rave scene, it really was like a pivotal thing that changed people's lives, and it wasn't for the worse. You know what I mean? Lifelong friendships that were established because of raves, because of the introduction of raves here, right? And we were doing it before Montreal. We were doing it before anybody, I would say, right?
I'm not. I'm like, I've talked about this before. I feel like I'm part of like phase three. I certainly am not part of phase one, and I don't. I definitely don't think I was
Right.
part of phase two. I came
So
after
like nitrous and Atlantis and stuff.
Atlantis. I did end up going to four Atlantis parties, 3 Pleasure
Yeah, those
Force
were all good.
parties. I'm guessing. I'd have to go back and look
Well,
back and
Pleasure Force was like after we stopped doing parties in '92, after Exodus stopped, Chemistry was doing parties and Better Days was doing parties, and so was Pleasure Force. So you're pretty much in the initial stages, right? That you're about tier two.
no, my the first time I smashed turntables live in front of people like at like was this is it's kind of crazy. Cyrus 4-year anniversary. Um,
Wicked,
yeah,
wicked. That
that
was a good party.
yeah, it was. I have an absolutely insane story to tell about this party, but I don't want to get into that right now because I want to.
Go, go, go.
No, no, you're far more interesting than what I've got to talk about. I feel like
Right.
what we need to do is we need to talk about Exodus. Were you one of the original partners that was doing it, or were you
John, Anthony, Mark,
John
me,
John
Mark
E?
Oliver. No, John Angus. Actually, it's funny. Shepard and John E and Pete the Greek. It was Shepard that we met in Brampton because he did CFNY, and we met Shepard there after we were going to This Is London. Mark Oliver was DJing there. The bass player from Platinum Blonde owned it, and he was doing like a Manchester Monday. So we go there and listen to Charlatans and Happy Mondays and all that stuff, and we were trying to figure out like how we were going to get ease and how we're going to do like raves in the city, and it's because of Mark pretty much. He sorted us out. We got the ease. Talked to Shepard in Brampton. He introduced us to Wes, who owns the Bovine, and they both were partners who owned 23 Hop, and that's how we got in. And Shep came in there with Johnny and Pete after we were throwing parties and just like flipped their wig. They had no clue what was going on. A bunch of kids from Brampton. It was all Brampton kids initially, just freaking out in the hop. And then everybody slowly started gravitating towards it. And by the time it became full blown, we stopped doing it in '92, and things just kept rolling.
So, are you saying that the club's dance floor was populated from people from Brampton, and that's where?
All Brampton. Initially, it was all Brampton, about like 25, 30 Brampton kids, because they were the only ones who knew about it because we were telling them, right?
But
And then once, pardon me?
no, I'm just wondering, wasn't something happening in the city that was house music?
Sure, but it wasn't the rave sort of
Okay.
music plus ecstasy in a controlled environment that was safe and nice. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that. I'm sure the gay community were doing these all kinds, Club Max, all that. I'm sure they were having fun on it, but it just wasn't to the rave music in collaboration with the ease and the good vibe equals fun, right?
The the are you familiar with? I call it a Facebook within a Facebook. I raved in between. Is it 1992 and 2003, or I can't remember the exact years on it.
Yep. Yep.
Early
I'm
90s
familiar
to
with it.
early aughties. Um,
Yep. There's like 10,000 members in it or something.
or north of right now. I'm not sure what the number is. It's yeah, what I do really love about the group is the flyers and
Right. Right. Right.
the YouTube videos of all these tracks that I never knew the names of, and now I know, and I'm like, oh,
Right.
great! And then
Right. Yeah.
like we were just saying,
I did
yoink,
that a couple of mornings. A couple of mornings, I woke up and just went fuck it and just started all breakbeat songs and a whole bunch of old songs that were really good that people didn't know the names to. I've done that a lot of times, and why not?
Right,
Why
right,
not?
yeah, no, I mean, I'm still there's still a lot of stuff that is from then that I still listen to now. I have never put down um the Renaissance Collection, Sasha and John Digweed, the very first one,
Ah, wow.
which is a. Do
Yeah,
you
that's so
remember
good.
this 3 disc set? Do you know this
Oh
mix?
yeah, of course,
So
of course.
yeah, to me this is like maybe the best of house music mix sets. It's up there. I mean, for me,
I used to I used to call that stuff progressive house.
I think everyone did.
Back in the day,
Right.
back in the day, I called that house. It wasn't the house that I was accustomed to. It was progressive. It was new, right?
It
Like
also
that's
had
how I
this. It
considered
had
it,
these very exaggerated breakdowns that might be, vocal
right?
filled and without any percussion.
Right?
If you felt the rhythm of it, it's because you were keeping time. But it'd be
Exactly.
almost like all the percussion would just disappear, and it would be this breakdown. And it actually, I want to
Because
say that all the stuff that happened in electro house, in 2007 to 2010, was because of what was happening in progressive house leading up to that, and that a lot
right,
of the breakdown stuff that, I mean, this was adopted. I mean, it seems really clear to me. uh,
right.
I you know what, I'm not quite sure why we started talking about that mix session, but my turn, Danny.
Yeah, yeah, nice. You digress.
Sure, why not? Well, what
Fuck,
were
I'm surprised I haven't remembered what I forgot in the beginning of the interview. We are talking about music and Gen Star.
It was a super fun episode. I loved catching up with Jen. You
Yeah,
know,
I've watched some
she's
previous
just
episodes. They're all good.
I've
She's awesome.
and it's funny because I feel like after, I get some time to reflect when I talk to everybody. Um, the same energy, enthusiasm, and happiness, this awesome spirit, is what was then is still with her today.
Yep, exactly.
It's just who she is. Sometimes I wonder what coats we're all putting on when we go to work.
Right.
And that wasn't a coat, that's Jen Star,
That's a
and
skin.
yeah, it was super super awesome. I can't believe you've been watching all these episodes. That's very cool of you. Um,
No, yeah, I love what you're doing. It's really cool.
Thanks, Danny. What were
Yeah, man.
what were some of the obstacles that you were faced with when you were trying to throw a party um, back
I
then?
didn't throw parties.
But
I didn't throw parties. My involvement was in another dynamic. I didn't throw the parties. I'm just part of the crew,
okay,
organizing, doing my, you know what I mean. But I didn't actually. I stay away from. I'm not really into throwing parties. It's a lot of headache.
the promotion game
Um,
isn't for you.
yeah, yeah, no. I've thrown parties. They've been successful, and then after I just kind of went, no more.
Right.
So many variables that you can't calculate, and oh my
So
god,
then,
you know what I mean? And
what about Limelight?
what about it? Limelight was awesome.
So was this not you and John that were the main?
Yep, yep, yeah. On the Wednesday, that was good. That was no problem though. That was a self-sustaining venue,
Well, the
ran
audience wasn't
itself.
built in. I mean, you had to get it to that place, right?
Oh yeah, but they were still partying. That was the beginning of the week kind of party. Limelight, then
Right.
they went on to, you know what I mean? Like that was the kind of jump off.
Right. Do you?
Yeah, that was a great night. Wow.
Is it
I
all
just
coming?
remembered that.
Is it coming back to you right
Yeah,
now?
it's coming back. Yeah.
I I
That was a great night.
I think that Limelight Wednesdays might be some of, from what I know, only from what I know, obviously, because and I mean I know a fraction of it, but from what I know, some of the greatest partying days in Toronto.
Yeah.
Maybe more so than some of the actual parties themselves, just because it was a real it was. I agree with you. There was a meetup vibe that was happening there,
Exactly.
but people were
Exactly.
also getting the fuck down. Like, and on a Wednesday,
Right?
you'd be like, you sometimes you'd be nervous about Thursdays. You'd see it coming up, and you'd be like, like that would happen, and just to make it like, as if, because sometimes you can just walk into a space and it doesn't matter what the fuck is going on. You're into it, you can just go.
Well,
But just to drive
wasn't
it,
film wasn't film going on too? Wasn't Addie playing on like Thursday?
I don't. I mean, I remember Film Lounge happening, but I feel like Film
Oh,
Lounge
Mark.
was
Mark.
like
Yeah.
2005 or something. And like Limelight is like this is
Oh
what,
no, no,
like
no. Yeah.
97 or
I'm
98?
yeah.
Like
No.
96?
Oh, no. way. Are you crazy?
When were you guys at Limelight Wednesdays?
Yeah, 96,
Okay,
96.
yeah, yeah. Don't freak
96.
me out. Don't freak me out.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
96.
You know, I'm there for it. I'm just trying to think that, so you guys had these. I don't know whose idea this was. You guys had these $2 drinks at the bar until midnight, and so you'd show up. You'd show. You'd show up, like at 10 o'clock, and
That's Dave Bragg and Mike Stein and Dave Bragg.
there's already 300 people in line at like 10 p.m. So by the time midnight hits, the whole place is sauced, and it's a gong show, and the dance floor is full, and it was just go time. And
What?
in the summer when the third floor opened up, that top, what is this? What do you call this? A balcony? What was this top floor called? That was
Yeah, the having
open air
the
top
drum and
floor.
bass. The drum and bass was up there.
Right, and you could put 300 or 400 people up there, or at least it felt that way to me.
Yeah,
And there was 3 floors going at this party. There was three. This whole
yeah,
nightclub was freaking out on a Wednesday night.
totally. And you had everyone in there. Jungleists in there, house people in
Right.
there.
Do you
Hello?
did I lose you?
No, no, we're
Okay,
good.
cool, cool. But when I was asking you the question, you said that you didn't throw parties. So even
No,
even with
no.
your involvement, though, can you think about some of the obstacles that happened in the early rave days? Like was it
Oh
was
wow.
was it? It wasn't so easy as just grabbing a venue and throwing a sound system and booking some talent and getting it together, was it?
Well, no. Well, luckily we had the hop, but we were also trying to like sell booze, or we weren't selling booze, but we were trying to give the impression that it was a booze can because we were selling ease. So it was kind of, cops would come in and you know what I mean? We'd have like a little bit of booze set up, but meanwhile, upstairs we're selling ease. So that was an obstacle. And meanwhile, the police had no idea. They were probably actually coming for booze. They had no idea what was really going on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, I heard you.
Oh, yeah. You drinking?
Yeah, yeah, I had a drink.
Cool.
Did you feel that there's a stigmatization with house music that was associative to what was happening with the parties? Like, was there a negative vibe that was out there? Were you ever at a
No,
family
no,
function, for
no,
example, and had to look at people and be like,
no,
"I'm a DJ, I do
no.
house music"?
Pardon me. I'm sorry, you're cutting out there.
Sorry, I was asking, were you ever out somewhere like at a family function, and have to explain to people what it is that you do, that you're not at weddings,
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. I would attempt to, but they have no idea. You speak about it, and all they can refer to is what they know about partying. So if they're asking the question, obviously they're well out of the range of what's happening, right? If they have no clue about the parties going on, they're only going to reflect upon when they used to party and how foreign what I'm saying to them is. You know what I mean?
Was there something that happened in Toronto, a party or a club night, a specific evening that you can recall that is like a legendary standout for you?
Ooh, when everybody got pepper sprayed in the line at Nitrous. Everyone got pepper sprayed. Somebody got pepper sprayed at the front, and the wind just brought it. That was pretty intense. Everybody was screaming and running all over the place. That was kind of funny, actually.
Okay. Uh,
I'm sure there's a whole
yeah, I
slew of
was, I
other
was,
times.
I was wondering,
You know,
was there a moment that you maybe looked out and everyone was locked with hands in the air,
oh my god,
not
so many
not crying,
times.
not crying in pain? I was thinking about I was thinking about a Danny Henry champion moment, not a, you know,
Oh right. Oh my god, there's so
not a
many of those
nightmare.
too. So
I
many of
can
those
ask you
too.
nightmare questions if you like.
Well, you just threw it out there. So a
I
specific time. That's
I should have been more
okay.
clear. I realized the error that I've made. I'm still new.
I got I got to remember. It's a romance,
We are
romance,
romantic.
romance. Okay,
Some people are
listen,
romantic about pepper
romance,
spray. So.
right? And no, there's been lots of times where people have, shown their admiration while I was DJing. I don't know. You know what? To be honest, I'm an in the cut kind of guy. I'd rather just have like no lights on me. You know what I mean? Like let the music speak for itself kind of deal. I kind of almost get tunnel vision. I only see like the decks and the mixer and like it's like a Donnie Darko kind of deal. You know what I mean? I don't see the crowd really, especially if it's a big crowd. I kind of just focus on what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And I don't know. If I look up and someone's got their hand in the air or a teddy bear with my name on it, that's all good. But I don't know. I don't really notice that stuff.
When you what was Mars Bars? Was this just a DJ outfit that you were a part of,
No,
or how?
no, no. That's yeah. That's Rob and Geo.
Still today, right?
Rob and yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm wearing the hat actually. Fuck, I didn't even realize that. Is that what you're asking?
I'm here for all the questions. I mean, like I do a little bit of research before the guests come on the show. I read a
Right.
bio, and then of course I'll try and.
I thought you'd seen the hat.
It's
I didn't even realize I was wearing it. Yeah, I was with the boys. Oh, and Mike Valente. Me, Mike, Gio, and Rob Valente were a little DJ collective and did stuff. Yeah, they're still together. I'm with Crush Grooves now. I'm doing my own thing. I ended up going to Harris Institute and getting my audio engineering degree, and I'm with Crush Grooves now, putting music out with them. Really good roster of talent on there. Harrison Paul, great vocalist. Mike G, got really good artists on there. Good collective of people. We're putting some tracks out, got a couple EPs out, a lot of music in the works.
where can we find some of these releases right now?
Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, uh, um, iMusic.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
You've got 3 tracks, Danny. They're tracks that you love. They're tracks that you know are going to light up a room no matter what's going on. It could either be just to turn the level up, or you're in a situation where you've got to go and get into a rescue mode. What are these 3 tracks?
Dream Drum. Talk to Me by Sasha.
Wait, you mean like
It's
talk?
called Talk to Me. It's by Hysterics. Are you writing that down?
No, the good news is that not only is this archived and streamed, but then it's podcast, and I'm recording it. So one way or another,
Ah,
I'll.
sick. Okay. Nice, nice. Okay, what's the third one?
You want me to pick for you? Oh,
No.
okay, no, because I thought you were asking me.
Oh, no, no, no.
I'm having a
Uh,
moment.
March by The Look.
Would you say that with the music that you selected, that there was something happening in that era of time with house music that is maybe exclusive to just that era? Because as we're coming here to the end of the show, there's something that was thematic and it was time. And it's also a recurring theme here on the show as well. I've discussed how the more that things change, the more they stay the same. This is not something that I've made up. This is a classic way of
Right,
describing, a feeling.
right,
Um,
right.
and that is my feeling. But that's my question to you. Do you think that something was happening with house music, and that whatever was happening, that vibe is sustained?
Definitely.
It's carrying on
Yes.
still today. Okay.
I think I don't know if it's sustained, but it's morphed into the 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 feeling and the vibe of the times now. Like I was saying to you before, a lot of piano driven songs, a lot of like funky Congo and funky breaks and stuff. People grooving, but now I feel like the groove has just gotten a bit more. What's the word I want to use? Not personal or serious, but just like a lot more intentful. You know what I mean? Like it's just a really like melodic, like mellow groove to house that I hear now. House that I enjoy anyway. Really moody and bass driven.
Any shout outs to to anybody that might be listening, or something you want to talk about besides the Crush
Oh,
Dreams project that you've got coming up?
Shout out to um we have some stuff coming up. It's already been I've already made a couple mixtapes with it. I don't want to delve too deeply into that, but shout out to Mike Bowie, Psychosis, uh, Ben, Rob, Gio. Fuck yeah, too many, too many. A lot of people to big up.
Um, Danny, thanks for sharing with us tonight.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Of course, absolutely essential. I couldn't possibly imagine going on to do the show without having you come by and drop some of your science. Was
Right on, man. Right on.
but 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 I am curious actually. Um, do you think that with the time and place that the energy that was happening is this an energy that is transferable? How do we transfer the energy to a community of people that are used to the accessibility of what it is today?
How do we transfer that energy?
Do you not believe that perhaps a lot of the energy emanated from the mystery of what we were getting involved in? That the premeditated.
Yes,
Okay,
I agree. Yeah, the adventure of going out to party
that's right.
and and right in the almost working through the week just to get to the weekend sort of mentality. That's changed. That's a great point. That's changed because we used to work for the weekend, right? You kind of do that now, but I think it's different because of the lack of there's no adventure, there's no mystery, like you said, to what you were about to embark upon. So yeah, I agree with you.
What can happen today? What would you say is one of the things that could happen? I guess these aren't rules that I'm thinking about, or maybe they are. Could you imagine, for example, going back into a party but not having your phone with you? Imagine it was like a phone-free event. I've heard of something like this, and I forget about the performer who was doing this. This is a DJ, Lane Eight, I
Right,
believe. This is Lane Eight, and this was something. I might be wrong. If someone's watching the show, please correct me. But I believe it was Lane
right,
Eight that his last couple of tours was you have to leave your phone at home. And this is recent. This isn't something like recent pre-pandemic, which feels like it's been going on
right,
for 1,000 years. But um,
right.
like I believe 2018, 2019, that this performer was touring, and it was on the flyer. There was a blurb that he had written out about his feelings. So, don't bring your phone, and this is why. And supposedly,
Can't Shazam my set?
you know what, I'm
Don't
not
want
quite sure if that, it's really funny because when we were talking about that before, you were going into an idea about essentially how you felt about it. And another situation of where I feel like the more things change, the more they stay the same. Definitely, and I agree with you. DJs are still being picked on the track selection, but this time it's the tracks that you've made, not the tracks
right.
that you'll buy. And I'm wondering
Exactly.
lately about the relevance of someone performing. um, I mean, it makes sense, obviously, if you've got either a friend or if you're a super fan of somebody, there's a song you absolutely love, why not throw it into a DJ set? But if your DJ set is 50% somebody else's songs, you know, uh, and if someone comes to see you and they are doing a Shazam and it's not you, then they're not looking for you. They're looking for what they're listening to, and if what they're listening to is not you, then so I wonder. I get it. I get it. And then the performance thing of it is a different conversation. I'm not sure if brand new.
Exactly. Like it doesn't matter if what they're listening to isn't you. It's good enough because you're playing it, but they can't play it like you. So it's just them paying homage, trying to be like you, but they can't ultimately.
You're
Are we?
listen. Thank you, Danny.
Oh, big up to Black Donnelly Radio, Anthony, Sadiq, Brian, all the boys. Almost forgot. Can't leave them out.
If they're listening,
Not like
I
this
hope I
other
hope
one.
they're having a good time. That's for sure. And
I had a great time. Thank you so much,
I
brother.
did with you too. It was super dope catching up. And you know what? There's some irony. This is the longest conversation that you and I have had.
Ever.
That's right. And and this is absolutely how cool you are. Just like all of you that are listening, whether you're at home, in your car, in an airplane, or a hot air balloon, with us is Mr. Danny Henry. He is super awesome sauce. This is Utility Room. You are dope. We're gonna see you all next week. Danny, don't touch that dial, but for all y'all, see you soon.